Yes. In today's special report, we are delving into the humanitarian crisis unfolding in Gaza amid escalating violence and airstrikes. We'll bring you the latest updates here from civilian affected and examine the broader regional and international implications of this conflict. Our goal is to give voice to those who are often left unheard and provide comprehensive look at the realities on the ground. The latest escalation began on 7th October with a widespread airstrikes and intensified military operations in Gaza as the Israel military launched an ongoing campaign aimed at neutralizing Hamas and other groups. The situation has led to sharp rise in several casualties, with thousands killed and countless others injured, displaced. Today alone, over 50 Palestinians were reported killed across Gaza, including women and children, with their highest toll concentrated in the north, where multiple strikes hit residential buildings and schools. We are here in Gaza City, a reporter said, where a strike on the Shelba school has taken the lives of at least 12 people who had been using the school as shelter. The scenes are devastating. People here had already fled from their homes only to find themselves in harm's way yet again. A residential interviewee we said we had nowhere to go. This school was supposed to be safe. Now my entire family is gone. I don't know where to survive. There is no food, no water, and no place left to hide. The relentless airstrike have put immense pressure on Gaza's health infrastructure. Dr. Marwan Al-Hamis, head of field hospitals in northern Gaza, describes the healthcare situation as catastrophic, with 3 hospitals out of service. Doctors now perform surgeries in makeshift facilities, often without adequate equipment or supplies. Dr. Marwan Al-Hamis said, "We are facing unprecedented challenges on hospitals where we are already struggling before the conflict, and now we are running on minimal resources. Many patients won't survive unless we get immediate aid." The conflict's impact extends beyond Gaza borders. In Lebanon, Hezbollah has reported casualties in clashes with Israel forces. Meanwhile, in the West Bank, opposition to the ongoing military operations has sparked protests and led to clashes. Protests in West Bank have become a daily occurrence as Palestinians express their anger and frustration at the violence in Gaza. Meanwhile, in South Lebanon, Hezbollah fighters have engaged in cross-border skirmishes with Israel forces, adding to fear of broader regional escalation. Globally, reactions vary, with several countries condemning the strikes on civilian areas in Gaza. France has announced it is considering new sanctions on Israel's settlement activities in the West Bank, while public opinion in countries like Denmark shows increased support for an embargo on arms sales to Israel. This conflict has highlighted the divide in international responses. While some Western nations call for de-escalation and humanitarian pause, other countries to support Israel need to defend itself. Yet there is growing pressure from European populations and rights groups to rethink policies on military and aid and arms sales. Beyond the numbers, these are people's lives. Today, we hear from these directly affected by the crisis. Those lives have been turned upside down by the daily threat of violence. One family member said, "We lost everything. My children don't understand why this is happening every day. It's a new nightmare." As the conflict continues, political rifts within Israel are also surfacing. Prime Minister Netanyahu's decision to replace Defense Minister Yoav Gallant with Israel cutters has sparked backlash and led to large-scale protests. Thousands took to the streets in Tel Aviv opposing the government's handling of the conflict and calling for a stronger focus on diplomacy. These protests signal growing domestic divisions within Israel over its Gaza operations. While violence escalates, hopes for a peaceful resolution seem further away. Some experts argue that the continuation of this cycle will only fuel further conflict, complicating any potential peace agreement. The current operations and the settlement expansions will make future people even more challenging unless there is an international commitment to finding a diplomatic solution. The risk of prolonged suffering and further destabilization in the region will persist. Throughout this social report, we want to hear from you. How do you feel about the ongoing situation in Gaza? Are there ways or you think the international community can help? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Thank you for joining us today for this in-depth look at Gaza's unfolding humanitarian crisis. If you are able to help, consider supporting organizations on the ground providing medical aid, food and shelter to civilians. Stay informed and stay engaged, and let's continue seeking peace and justice for all the affected by this conflict. Thank you for joining. Today, escalating violence in Gaza has reached new tragic heights. An Israeli strike reportedly killed at least 27 people in a single strike on a building in Jabalia, northern Gaza. Relief officials report that the four-story building was sheltering over 50 displaced individuals, many of whom were trapped at the building's lowest level. This strike is part of an ongoing Israeli military campaign that has severely impacted neighborhoods across Gaza, leaving large across uninhabitable. The homes of the Mbahu family was hit in the latest strike. Mohammed Basal, spokesman for Gaza Civil Defense, confirmed that the building, like many others, had been housing families who had already fled violence elsewhere. CNN has reached out to the Israel military for a statement regarding the intended target. According to Gaza's Ministry of Health, the toll of this conflict has been catastrophic since October 7th. The death toll among Palestinians has reached over 43,000, with over 100,000 others injured. Human rights organizations are now warning that life for Palestinians in Gaza has reached an apocalyptic condition. In Beit Lahia, further north, other strikes and artillery attacks have continued. One residential building in the area was targeted, killing 6 people. Medics on the ground reported additional fatalities in the same neighborhood, including families who were sheltering in residential area. Dr. Marwan Al-Hamis, head of field hospitals in Gaza, described the situation in the north as beyond catastrophic, noting that 3 hospitals have ceased operations, leaving medical personnel unable to perform critical surgeries. One witness said they were at home, they had nothing to do with any group Just regular people struggling to survive, and now they are gone. Israel military spokesman has argued residents in certain northern areas to evacuate south, citing active combat operations and potential harm to civilians due to terrorist presence in the area. However, Palestine authorities and humanitarian groups argue that many residents have no safe route out on place to go. Elsewhere, central Gaza, more casualties were reported after an airstrike on a home in the Nuseirat refugee camp. The building reportedly housed orphans being cared for by their grandmothers. Relatives, neighbors, and witnesses have questioned why civilian residences have become a target. Further south, in Rafah, paramedics report additional facilities from drone strikes and shelling. In one instance, 4 members of the same family were killed. This ongoing violence has left civilians trapped, mourning loved ones and fearing for their survival. As the situation in Gaza remains dire, people around the world watch, hoping for resolution and an end for this humanitarian crisis. Our thoughts are with all those affected by the ongoing conflict. For updates and learn how you can help, please follow our coverage.